Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our daily word. This morning, it is Monday morning, and we begin a new week. And we make another step in our journey in the season of Lent. And we are ready to face Palm Sunday. Sorry, I had an interruption there. And so I'm glad you could join me for our time together as we continue this long journey together. Today is daily word number 880. And Saturday, March 16th, was the 4-year anniversary of the daily word. I began that Monday morning. You know, the pandemic had started. If you remember, we had canceled worship the Sunday before, and we went from people to no people, and it lasted much longer than we thought. But I started on Monday. I thought, I'm just going to do this, keep us connected. You know, I'm going to do this for a couple weeks, and just to make sure everyone has a place to land, if you will. I didn't know that we were going to be 4 years later, 880 by my count. I don't know how accurate that is, but it's close. 880 daily words in, but here we are. And it's every day at 10 o'clock for 4 years. Is this still helpful? Is it something that you want me to continue? Does it help? Does it give you anything? Are you still getting something out of it? I mean, I really like some feedback, because some days I wonder, you know, if we've heard it all and it's making a difference. So if you could just let me know, or if I didn't do it, would it be a big deal to you? I've been committed to doing it, and if it's still important and still meaningful and still helpful to you, I will continue to do this. But even if you're a person who doesn't say good morning, and I know there are folks who watch who don't, if you could let me know, send me a private message, or even comment on here, or text me, let me know your feelings about that. I would appreciate that. But I'm going to light my candle. It's a reminder of the Holy Spirit with me, with us, with you. If you have a candle, I invite you to light it wherever you are in your space. So it's Monday. It's, Monday. You know how that feels sometimes, right? Monday. You're not sure if you're ready to get going. My Monday, today consists of this, but meeting with the family of John Laws. John died last week. His funeral is Wednesday. I'm meeting with them this morning to try to piece together our funeral service for Wednesday. It's a difficult thing, and it makes Monday feel like Monday. So then from the psalmist, we hear these words, and maybe this is how the psalmist felt a Monday. Psalm 143, verse 6. I stretch out my hands to you. My soul thirsts for you like a parched land. Selah. We are deep in the season of Lent, headed towards Palm Sunday. And I know for some folks, you've given up something: Facebook, coffee, Coke, television, whatever it is. I'm not a person who gives up things. What I've tried to do is deepen my spiritual practices. We've talked about this in the daily word. What I've tried to do is be less reactionary to things and more loving and more kind. I try to be more responsive to people around me. I try to have more empathy. All of those things that I should be doing, but I'm trying to make myself more aware of them. And when you do those things, you give up something or you decide to add something, sometimes we forget why we've chosen that particular thing. Not the practice itself, maybe, but maybe the motivation. Here's what I mean. I've decided to add these things, or be more open to the possibility that God's moving in all of these things. But then this morning, it's Monday, it kind of hits me. I go to Frisch's early this morning, and I'm back in the corner, but there's a loud employee, manager, general manager conversation. A conversation I don't think should be had. in the middle of the restaurant with a patron there. And I got a little aggravated, so I left. And I went to Kroger's to get some groceries, some things for Wednesday night. I get my stuff. A lady almost hit me in her car. She was headed to where you park to get your groceries brought out to your car. And I guess she was so focused she didn't see me. My life almost ended in the Kroger parking lot today. I mean, it was really close. I felt her mirror. I get in there, get my groceries, and I'm already aggravated. I get my stuff and I come around and it's only self-checkout. I despise self-checkout, especially with the amount of things I had. If I have 3 or 4 things, I don't mind. And so I'm disgusted. And so I walk up there and the lady who's working there greets me nicely. And then I remembered all these events Monday morning, and it's only 8:15, even if it's even that. And I thought, Jim, why did be more loving, more kind, how did that make sense 5 weeks ago? And now it makes very little sense because it's so frustrating, all of these things. And it's Monday, and I have to preach this really hard funeral, and I don't want to do it, and it's hard. I remember my failures then. I seek change in my life then. Some kind of private growth attempt. I'm not sure why I think all those things draw me closer to God. This morning, they only made me cranky. But the psalmist says to us that our desire to draw closer to God, a thirst for God, would not be visible to others. Those times when we're thirsty, when our soul is in drought. That's kind of how I feel today. I'm in drought. You've been there. I know you've been there. This far along, we're in deep with Jesus. We're making the final turn towards Jerusalem. And the thing that we might have thought would bring us closer to God maybe has left us stretched out. As thirsty as Jesus was when he was in the desert for 40 days in the wilderness, sometimes it's tempting to give up. And if we can't do it perfectly, then what's the point? Why did my practice seem like a good idea? Why did yours, whatever you decided to do, why did it seem like a good idea? Way back then, Ash Wednesday, February 14th, what were we thirsty for then? I've come to the conclusion this morning that maybe the point of practice of whatever we decided is not to win in Lent, but to reach this moment feeling parched and stretched out and uneasy. That's kind of where I am today. It's Monday. I'm parched, stretched out, uneasy. But the call is to keep practicing anyway. The psalmist, my soul thirsts for you like a parched land. And then it says, prior to that, importantly, I stretch out my hands to you. We keep practicing. We make it important. We know that God's going to move in us and through us. It's tough being in a parched place, isn't it? It's tough when the reckoning comes. It did for me 3 times today. In Frisch's, in the Kroger parking lot, and in Kroger's. The reckoning came. And the question for me was, how was I going to respond? I left Frisch's. When I felt the lady's mirror go right in front of me, I threw up my hands. When I got to Kroger at the end and had to self-checkout, I just stopped and I said, I'm so disgusted. But then I checked myself out, and the psalmist reminded me, Jim, though you're parched and stretched and uneasy, keep practicing. And that's where we are in Lent. Can we do it? Can we continue? Can we make it all the way? Can we finish our journey? I think we can. We should pray for each other, and we should push each other along. So that's my rather long word today. Thanks for joining me all of these 880 days. I know some of you have been with me all 880 days. Let me know what you think. If you've heard enough from me, I understand that. But let me know what you think. I'm committed to continue, but if enough's enough and you say that to me, I certainly understand that as well. Know of God's love that surrounds you. Know of my love for you. And you know, of all the things that I've ever wanted to say to all of you who've watched and been with me all these days, those last two things, because I think that's what was going to sustain us on March 16th, 4 years ago. Know of God's love that surrounds you, and know of my love for you. Have a great day.